Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Gonna be a quick video today. We're just gonna cover the Clarissa Shields fight from last night, the PFL MMA fight, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte if they are going to actually fight. Shout out to Punch Quotes already here in the building. Make sure you smash that like button on your way in. Um, so I'm gonna I'm gonna give it a few minutes, let a few more people join up. Um, but yeah, I definitely want to discuss the fight from last night, and I did actually speak on Clarissa Shields a couple days ago and about this fight briefly. Um, I didn't get much time to look up Abigail Montez. I think I did like a quick YouTube search of her and watch a little bit of her, a couple of her MMA fights. But I didn't know much about her going in. I knew she was young. I knew she had MMA experience, like kickboxing experience, but she hasn't been in many pro fights. All right. But I knew she was undefeated, really, really young, 21. And I knew that she can do pretty much everything. You know, I knew that she has some decent striking ability. She had some decent takedown ability, some decent jujitsu. I seen a fight where she was doing some good ground and pounding. Didn't know much about her, but she got the job done. So congratulations to her. Congratulations to her. Much love to her. She seems like a really sweet girl. Obviously, I wanted Clarissa to win, but congratulations to her. What's up, Fistiano? What's good? Good morning. What's up, Charles Edward Cheese? What's up? But yeah, let's talk about it. All right. Clarissa Shields takes her first professional loss in MMA. And I don't think it's the biggest thing in the world. She tried something out. It didn't work out for her. She won the first fight. She struggled a little bit on the ground in the first fight. And in this fight, it was those takedowns, man. It was the takedowns. And once a girl like that, who's more experienced than you, take you down, ground and pound you like that, Shields didn't win the fight. I know it was a split decision win, which is fair. As far as, I thought Shields won one of the rounds. I think the judges got it right for the most part. I think one of the judges had it for Clarissa 2-1. I thought it was 2-1 for Abigail, and you could see it on Shields' face. After the fight was over, you can tell in her body language that she knew she lost the fight. She knew she lost the fight. She tried something out and it didn't work out. And this is my thing as far as the fight, because let me just stick to talking about the fight itself. The fight itself, I think the only thing I was disappointed in is that her striking, right? Her being a boxer and her going for the KO. I feel like as an MMA fighter, she wasn't using the tools she has as a boxer. Like the way that she was setting up her shots isn't the same way she would normally do in a boxing ring. I don't know if you guys feel the same way about that, but I think she was just too eager and didn't have enough respect for her opponent. And she was just walking in, winging shots. And normally, if this was a boxing fight or a boxing match, she wouldn't fight that way. So when she was coming in and trying to corner and trap Montez, she wasn't using the tools that I normally see her do in boxing. She was just walking straight in and just winging shots. And I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, what's up with the feints? Like, do the stuff that you normally do in a boxing ring. If the fight is gonna be a standing fight, right? And you're walking this woman down and you're trying to put hands on her, right? At least use some of the boxing technique that we normally see you in a boxing ring. I don't think she had enough respect for her opponent. I think she figured while they both were standing that she would just have the clear advantage, which she did. I mean, she had a couple of moments in there where I thought, especially towards the end, where I thought she might have had, try to stop her or knock her out or whatever, but it wasn't enough. Montez was tough. She took the punches. She took Clarissa down. And when she took her down that last time and started ground and pounding her, it was it. I just knew like, damn, she didn't win this one. There was a couple of times that Clarissa tried to take her down, and that's when the inexperience showed. I'm not like an elite, like I'm not like an expert on MMA, but I watch it enough to know that she wasn't really experienced in taking Abigail down. There was moments where she could have, she was the bigger, stronger woman, but she lacked experience in that. She tried to just swing her around and down on the ground like the traditional way that anybody would do it. It didn't really look that experienced to me, and that's my whole thing with this. And I've said this before. I know she tried to be great and tried to dominate both sports. It's very few that can actually do that. It's very few that can, be dominant in two different, sports, because it's really, I know it's the fight game, but it's two completely different sports. All right. With MMA, you have to be, it's not as limited as boxing where you're just using your hands. We know that it's a sweet science, yes. But MMA, you got to be prepared for so many other things. Where were the leg kicks from Clarissa Shields too? That's another thing. Where were they? You're just walking straight in and winging shots and trying to tag her with your hands. It's not enough. You're not going to win the fights that way. You have to do more. We need leg kicks. She needs better. She needs to improve her takedown defense. It's a lot of things that you have to really know how to do and be capable of doing. And being that she's not a full-time MMA fighter, it makes her very, very limited. You know what I'm saying? She's not full-time. And this is one of those sports that you got to be all in. You can't be part in boxing. I know she's trying to get the fame. She's trying to get the money that these female MMA fighters are getting. And I get that. You want the exposure, you want the money and stuff like that. Boxers is not getting it like the way they're getting it over there on that side. But you have to give it time. Female boxing is growing. Is bigger than it's ever been right now. And it's going to continue growing. So the checks are going to come in. All right. The popularity, the fame, as you continue fighting. And that's another thing. Up until Savannah Marshall, Clarissa hasn't had a real rival up to this point. Now that Savannah is there, it's created some kind of tension to beef, the beef up a real mega fight, which is going to happen. And that makes you get paid more. It gives you more exposure. More people are looking and checking for the fight. She never really had a real rival up until this point. All right. And especially because the sport is growing and people are just tuning in and getting more into it now more than ever. What's up, Dr. Johnson? What's good? Kid Presentable, what's up, man? Charles Edward Cheese says that ground game will get you every time. LOL. Come on now, Wade. We know we don't fight folks with cauliflower ears. That's funny. Kid Presentable says she got more than most men. All right, yeah, I got you. Watts Loke says I'm proud of her. A loss is not in the end of the world. She will learn from the fight. Yes, she will, and I am proud of her. And I actually sent her a message maybe like a week ago saying, like, regardless of how this ends, between this MMA fight and the I don't know if she read it or not, but between this fight, the Savannah Marshall fight, I'm proud of her regardless. She's accomplished a lot, winning titles in multiple divisions, becoming undisputed in multiple divisions. She's accomplished a lot. I'm very, very proud of her. And that's it. She lost, but she learned from it. And when she returns to MMA, whenever that is, she'll have some more experience. But it's going to be really hard to deal with boxing and deal with MMA because there's going to be new challenges like a Savannah Marshall, who's a new threat to her right now. And You know what I'm saying? Like it's a mega fight. So and this is what I said recently in my video I did yesterday or the day before yesterday. I can't remember, but I said that Clarissa needs to be 100% focused on Savannah Marshall. Okay, we can't just be, for her to have two MMA fights back to back. She had a boxing match earlier this year, I believe, but then having two MMA fights back to back, learning, being in camp for those, and training, and with all of these different MMA fighters, and now having to come back to fight your toughest threat is really, really challenging. I already told you guys, I suggested that she has a warm up match because I think training and prepping for months and months and months for MMA can throw you off a little bit. All right. And I think maybe she should get into a camp, train, have a boxing match first, and then go straight into the Savannah Marshall fight, you know? And I think that's the way it should be done. It'll be a big fight for next year, at least by the spring or whatever, but she definitely needs to get back in boxing full time, because she needs to be the best version of herself that night she fights Savannah Marshall. Whether you think she's going to win or lose, all I know is that she needs to be on her A game. She needs to be 100% her best to win that fight, because that threat, this girl can punch, she could box, she's tall, she's long, she has the tools, the boxing ability and everything. You got to be on point, you can't just coming straight out of an MMA fight where you're learning to, you learning jujitsu and takedown defenses and stuff like that. You learning ground game, you learn a whole bunch of stuff, kicks, you learn a whole bunch of stuff you never had to really deal with before this year, So she needs to fully focus on boxing, for now. You can always go back to MMA, all right, but you got to do what you got to do here, and at this time, like I said, female boxing is growing. People are now paying attention. The money will come. The exposure will come. Maybe you get 2 or 3 fights out of Savannah Marshall. You never know. Maybe the fight ends up being a classic, right? And it might end up being a classic. You might have a rematch or a trilogy like Wilder and Fury just did. All right, you never know. So I'm looking forward to seeing her coming back. I think this was just a learning experience. It's not the end of the world. I know it sucks that you lost, but you lost in something that you are just getting, something that's completely new to you, and you can still come back at some point. But you fought a girl that was much more experienced than you there. She was she was well-rounded, and she was better than the last opponent you had. Prime Time did it, and Bo Jackson did it. I know those are the only two that I know. Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. Those are the only two that I know that was able to play 2 different professional sports on a high level, baseball and football. Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders, as far as football, are legends. As far as baseball, I didn't watch them much as baseball players, to be honest. I didn't watch them much. So I can't remember because I'm not as big of a baseball fan as I was as a football fan when I was a kid. But I know that they both were, the only two that I know that can really do it. You know what I'm saying? And this is still, you got to remember also, this is still PFL. This is not the UFC. Okay, so there's still levels, no disrespect to the PFL fighters or all of the other MMA organizations that's out there, but the UFC is definitely the super elite of that. And the women that fight in that organization are on a completely different level, so it's tough. And she had to learn. And sometimes some people need to go in there They need to go straight in there and actually experience it in order for them to know and learn what the sport is really about. It's a tough sport. You could be dominant in one thing, but you stepping in a whole different world over there. You know, some of the boxers learned, but going over there before, you can be a legendary, all-time great boxer and go over there and look very average, or look even look bad, you know. And that goes for MMA fighters that go over to boxing. You know, you can't go over there and just fight like a Floyd Mayweather. You know, you're going straight to the super elite of the boxing world. You know, Conor McGregor, who is considered to be a good striker over there, came over to the boxing world, and you saw what happened with him. It's not easy, you know. Very few can do it. Anderson Silva is doing a good job right now, boxing, but he has experience with boxing. He's boxed before, you know, and he's he's another guy he's an all-time great striker. He is the striker. So he can come over to boxing and do well in boxing. He can come over and do it, you know, even at his age. I mean, unfortunately for him, at the time when he was dominant in the UFC, those fighters weren't getting paid as much. You know, for him to be considered the greatest or top 5 greatest, he wasn't getting the money that he probably would have been getting as a boxer. But, you know, he should have did the crossover a lot earlier, you know. Let's say he did the crossover like 10 years ago. He would have got paid. Now, I don't know if he would have fought the top boxers like at the elite level. Like, I don't know if he's fighting in a light heavyweight. I can't remember what weight class he was fighting in as a boxer, but I don't know if he was at the highest level where he could fight the champions and do well. But he would have at least made money when he was a superstar as a UFC fighter. If he had did the crossover earlier, he would have definitely got that bag, you know? Charles always says, because they are extreme opposites. Like, one is hugely skill based and one is huge athletically based versus some other blend of both. Different cardio and completely different skill sets. Yeah, everything is different. You know, like I remember having a debate with someone, with a group about what sport has the greatest athletes, and you really can't compare like that because it takes a different type of training to compete in different sports. It takes a different build to compete in different sports. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at boxing. You can't be overly muscular, you know, because you need to be fluid and move a certain way. You know, you can't be overly muscle. Like, athletes, they have to have a different build and physique, and it's a different training. Like, it's no way to really compete that. Like, a guy like that's a top low athlete in basketball might fail as a tennis player or soccer player, you know, or some of you call it football, you know. So that's really just, it's totally different. And then even in the fight game, it's totally different in the MMA world, you know. They're not a complete extreme super elite boxers in the MMA world, but the MMA world, they're prepared for everything. They have to be well-rounded. You have to be well-rounded because there's different dangers. Just like in boxing, styles make fights, but in MMA, you're getting styles from completely different martial arts in general. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. Lincoln Clay says the 83-year-old Nan would beat Clarissa Shields in a street fight. I mean, that's a funny comment and everything, but listen, man, Clarissa is amazing. Is an amazing fighter. You know, I know a lot of people want to get on her because they don't like her attitude. And I'm not going to defend that. Like, you know, it is what it is. People don't like her as a person. I'm not going to defend her. You can like or dislike whoever you want. I made a video about her maybe about a month ago now. Pretty much putting it out there that the level of disrespect she receives in the comments of her videos is this is a part of the reason why, like, I these athletes read these comments. And this has been years of these type of comments, before she was even really vocal like that, before there was even a reason to dislike her, you know. Um, I've been following her for a while, and I'm not gonna lie, the comments just got worse and worse over the years. Now, I can see why she may not be the most likable person, because she says a lot of things that people get offended by. So I get that. I'm not going to defend that, you know, uh, because once you start saying certain things, you put yourself out there to be disliked. But people are acting like, if we're talking strictly boxing, she's doing an amazing job. And people try to discredit what she's doing in the ring, which is like, that's the issue I have. It's like the whole Savannah Marshall thing. People make it seem like Clarissa got to prove herself by fighting Savannah Marshall when Clarissa has been doing what she's been doing her whole pro career. She's been taking the challenges. Savannah just kind of showed up. Savannah is getting fame off the fact that she beat her in the amateurs. Her fame is coming off Clarissa Shields' name. And people don't want to admit to that. Clarissa Shields is the one that came in at a higher weight, picking up titles. And now she's come down, and now she's finally going to meet Savannah Marshall. All right, who hasn't really done much of anything. Savannah Marshall has not fought great fighters yet. She hasn't fought top level fighters yet. Now, I'm not trying to take anything away from her, but because I'm aware that she is talented and she is a threat to Clarissa for sure. Not trying to take anything away from her, but she has not done what Clarissa Shields has done. And people are trying to strip Clarissa Shields of her accomplishments and make it seem like Savannah is the chosen one. Based on what exactly? Over something she did as an amateur? She's not an Olympic gold medalist. She didn't win multiple titles and multiple divisions and become undisputed more than once. Like, that's my problem. Even if Savannah wins the fight, she still came in, fought a bunch of scrubs, and got a fight with Clarissa based on what Clarissa did. If Clarissa has already accomplished things, and she has more to accomplish, yes. She has a long career ahead of her. But Savannah just got in, and because of their rivalry from the amateurs, that's what gave her, the exposure that she's getting. I mean, look, even Floyd Mayweather, who's the first time I heard of her is when Floyd Mayweather brought her in and promoted her as, oh, this is the girl that beat Clarissa Shields. Everybody's looking at Floyd like, what? What are you doing? But Floyd did that for her. Now everyone else is doing it. But I mean, Floyd Mayweather is the one that brought her in and advertised her as she beat Clarissa in the amateur. Hey, everybody, this is the girl that beat Clarissa in the amateurs. So anyway, yeah, Clarissa Shields, I just wanted to end this with I'm still very proud of her. She still accomplished a lot. She tried the MMA thing and didn't work out. She could still do it, but I just feel that she should focus strongly, like mainly on boxing, because again, there's levels when it comes to this MMA thing, and you tried it, you can still try it, but you got to remember you lost at the PFL level. You know, those girls over in the UFC, they're a completely different beast. And that comes to striking and ground game. We know you're an elite boxer, but when it comes to striking, it's different. It's different, man. It's just different. It's different than just boxing. It's a completely different game. And you need to be fully invested into that. You need years of training and experience without having to focus on defending your titles as an elite boxer. It's just too much to do both, in my opinion. You tried it, but it's just too much. All right, go back to boxing and do what you have to do. You have a super fight coming up. You need to be focused on that. That's a real challenge in Savannah Marshall right there. All right, so moving on. I just wanted to speak a little bit on Fury and Dillian Whyte. I don't know if the fight is going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen. You know, and I say that because Fury's never been interested in fighting Dillian Whyte. You know, the WBC tried to mandate it before. They tried to make it like a title eliminator fight some point last year. Fury was not interested. That's when he did his deal with ESPN. And yeah, I mean, it didn't happen. And he said several times publicly, he said several times that he does not want to fight Dillian Whyte. He just doesn't want to do it. You know, it is what it is. So the reason why I say that is because I'm not sure if he would actually fight him. You know, Fury is very unpredictable. We know this already, right? The last time he won the titles before he retired, right? Didn't defend the titles. He defended his titles now for the first time, but it was only to the same person he's already beaten. You know, so I don't know what he's going to do. All right, Fury can either fight Dillian Whyte, get stripped, and not fight Dillian Whyte and fight someone else, or he can just end up retiring. We don't know what Fury is going to do. Fury has already said, I have nothing to prove to anybody. He said that already. Hey, yo, 30s, thank you for the donation, the big donation. I appreciate it. Congrats to Abigail on a good victory. I know TGE Guo is probably upset, but she did a great plus. She did great. Plus, she has improved by leaps and bounds. She just needs time and experience, understanding her best practices in MMA. Proud and inspired of TGE Guo. Yes, very proud of her. You know, and this is what I expressed here. Win or lose, still proud of her for even trying to do that, you know, especially doing it when you're at the top of your game. You know, she didn't do it at a point where she had nowhere else to go and she was washed up. She tried it right in the prime of her career and she went and tried it, you know. And another thing is, too, I'm glad that she was able to do it, take the loss, but not, you know, suffer any real injuries. You know, she didn't get her arm broken in an arm bar or something like that. You know, she didn't get submitted. You know, she lost on points. She did get ground and pounded, but she didn't take any real clean shots in that ground and pound. You know, Abigail, most of those shots, like 90% of those shots, didn't hit clean. And she did a good job without getting hurt too bad. That was another, I meant to say that earlier. That was another major concern for me. So yeah. Going back to Tyson Fury real quick. He's totally unpredictable. But if he does fight Tyson Fury, I mean, if Tyson Fury does fight Dillian Whyte, if he fights Dillian Whyte, does Dillian Whyte has any kind of chance of beating Tyson Fury? Does he have any shot of beating Tyson Fury? Yeah, Charles says get the likes up. Definitely smash that like button if you haven't. If you're here, smash that thumbs up for me. If I really appreciate it. Does he has any chance at all in beating Tyson Fury? I don't want to say that he doesn't have a chance. Everybody has a chance. This is boxing. I'm personally picking Tyson Fury to win, right? But I do believe that Dillian Whyte, outside of Wilder, and I know Klitschko is better than Dillian Whyte. I'm not trying to say that Klitschko is not better than Dillian Whyte, but what I'm saying is Klitschko didn't bring the fight to Tyson Fury. So even though I think Klitschko is better than Dillian Whyte, that night of the fight, Dillian Whyte would be better than that version of Vladimir Klitschko. The leaping and holding Vladimir Klitschko, the one that didn't try to engage at all, Dillian Whyte is better than that. Now, outside of that, I think Dillian Whyte is better than anybody else that Fury has fought, outside of Wilder, of course. Outside of Wilder, I think I give Whyte a way better chance than anybody else that's on Tyson Fury's resume. Okay. Some people like to compare him to Derek Chisora, two British black guys that have rugged styles. They have the similar dimensions, same height, around the same size. So, yeah, I get the comparisons, but Dillian Whyte is better than Derek Chisora. Dillian Whyte can do more against Fury than Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora he's like a watered-down Joe Frazier. All right? Doesn't have the speed. He's bigger, but he's slower. He takes way too many hits. I think his defense is kind of suspect coming in. Very easy to read, very predictable. I like him. This is not a diss to him because what he's been able to do is very effective. If he can get guys to engage with him, it makes it a great fight. This is the reason why Dillian Whyte struggled in both fights against him. All right. But Derek Chisora is not better than Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte definitely has more tools going into a Fury fight than Chisora did against Fury. Chisora really didn't have much for Fury at all, especially in that rematch. In the rematch, he had nothing for Fury. It was very predictable for Fury. And Fury had his way with him. Fury didn't have to do so much. I mean, Fury, I remember watching him, switching from righty to lefty and just keeping that distance, he could just beat Chisora with his lead hand alone. And he was able to just use and control Chisora with his lead hand all night. He put himself on the ropes and he'll pepper him up with shots. And then he'll pivot and step right around him all night long. It was very easy to a point where Chisora just started slowing down, was taking too many shots. It's just too easy because Chisora is just trying to get low and he's just trying to get in just to throw the looping right hand over and over again. Whyte is called the body. He's called a body snatcher for a reason. First off, he attacks the body a lot. He digs to the body a lot. All right. Second, he makes more of a use of his jab than Chisora does. All right. More straight shots. He throws a big looping shots as well, but you get more straight shots out of him. Look at the Povetkin fight. When he dropped Povetkin in the first fight, even in the second fight, straight shots right down the pipe. That's exactly what Wilder caught Fury with. It wasn't those looping shots where Fury can just weave them shits and then step around it. Nah, it's those straight shots that matter. And that's exactly what I said Wilder needed to do for the rematch. I said, you got to go in there, get in range, but shoot those straight shots down, right straight down the pipe. Follow them up. Throw the jab, follow it up with the straight right hand. You can catch Fury with one of those. He's very good defensively, but he still get caught. He get clipped. He's been knocked down. All right. Fury can still get caught. Stephen Davis says Whyte's left hook is underrated. That is his best weapon. He needed to get surgery on it. When he got his surgery and came back, he was dropping dudes. Didn't he drop Joseph Parker with a left hook? It's very underrated. That's his best punch. What I like about Whyte, and again, I don't think I mean, listen, if they are to fight, I will be picking Tyson Fury to beat him. But I don't think it's just this easy fight. You know, I know people are all gassed up from the trilogy, right? The trilogy was great. A lot of fun, a lot of action, a lot of drama. It was great. But let's not make it seem like that's the end of it all. Like there's no other challenges for Fury. Fury's very good. I think he is number one. But there's guys that bring different tools. They bring different threats to him than Wilder. You know? Whyte has tools. And not only that, Whyte is very aggressive, but not in the way that Chisora is. All right? He's going to work his jab. He's going to attack the body. He's very active. He's going to let his hands go. He's going to let his hands go more than Wilder. He's better conditioned. He can fight 12 rounds. He can go a full 12 rounds without getting gas. You know, well-conditioned, well-trained Dillian Whyte can fight for a full 12 rounds without slowing down. I mean, he'll slow down here and there in different parts of the fight. But what I'm saying is he's going to bring the fight to Tyson Fury. And he's capable of hurting. He has the power. All right. But Tyson Fury is Tyson Fury. You know, and Dillian Whyte, he does have his flaws. You know, I personally think he telegraphs his punches way too much. He puts so much power in it. The way he throws his punching, he's always leaving himself off balance. He's not as bad as he was early in his career, but he telegraphs his punches like you know when the punch is coming. Because his whole body reacts when he's ready to, he's getting set to throw. Is this not like, you ever see that Michael Jai White video that went viral when he's with Kimbo Slice and he's teaching him how to not telegraph the punches? That reminds me of like Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte likes to just, he jerks before he throws the punch. Another problem is how he got knocked out by what's his face? Povetkin. Povetkin knocked him out because he always likes to lean in with his high guard. Now, at times, if you're setting up a shot, there's use for it. But the way he does it, he kind of just clams up and he goes like this, you know? And he's not setting anything up. He just kind of, even in a rematch, I seen him do it again. I actually thought like, oh man, he's going to get caught again. Because I was watching a rematch. I was watching a little bit of the rematch and I noticed that he was still doing the same thing. I don't know why he does that. It's just like a natural thing for him to do. But Tyson Fury, you know, he's real good at timing those uppercuts, especially like he'll be throwing like, he'll just be keeping his lead hand out there and start, you know, peppering you with those shots and throwing punches around the guard. And if you're like in that high guard and you lean in, he might catch you with an uppercut right through that guard and hurt you. So I think that like that's one of the scenarios I can see happening if Dillian Whyte is in there with Tyson Fury. You know, Tyson Fury's a big man too. You know, Whyte never fought a guy that's that big that is going to use his size and weight on you to lean on you and stuff like that. You know, that's another thing that Dillian Whyte has to worry about. He said he's never been on a guy that's going to be putting you in headlocks. You'll be coming in really aggressive, but once you're in his space, Dillian Whyte is going to be getting leaned on all night long by a very, very big man. You know, whatever, if he comes in the 270s again, or even if he comes in the 250s, Tyson Fury is going to be a really big man leaning on you constantly. You know what I'm saying? Kimberly says, I'm wrong. Dillian Whyte is getting tired early. Is always getting tired early. Okay, well, give me examples. Because even if he's getting tired, he's still fighting at a high level throughout the fight. Joseph Parker. Yeah, he got hurt late, but he was still fighting at a high level late. He was fighting at a high level late in all of his fights. Even in a Chisora fight, he knocked Chisora out late. Oscar Rivas, same thing. Outboxed him the whole fight. The whole fight. You can't say the Povetkin fights because there was a knockout in both fights in the first half of the fight. What was Dillian out gassed and just completely done and shut out and then got dominated late? No. Gets tired, but he paces himself. He knows how to pace himself. That's something that AJ didn't know how to do earlier in his career. He didn't know how to pace himself correctly. He had to learn with the Klitschko fight and other fights how to pace himself. Dillian Whyte knows how to pace himself. Yes, fighters get gassed. They take rounds off. But he knows how to go for 12 rounds, and he knows how to pick it up in the 12th round as well. Dillian Whyte is a well-conditioned fighter. He is. That's not something that he's known. He doesn't have the reputation of always gassing or getting tired. That's not true. And if it is true, give me some of the fights that you've seen him do it. Lincoln Clay says Otto Wallin is a gangster. He'll beat them all apart from Fury. Look, Wallin is a good fighter. I'm not taking anything away from him. I understand that he gave Fury some comp. But let's not jump the gun. There was a point in that fight where Fury took over and dominated him. Okay? Otto Wallin beat Dominic Brazil. He beat Dominic Brazil. He beat Dominic Brazil. All right? After both Wilder and Joshua already had knocked them out. All right? He has not proven in any sense that he can beat all of these guys. I know that Dillian Whyte pulled out of the fight because of this injury. All right? And many of us believe it's not even real, but even if it is real, he should have rescheduled the fight. But why are you going to reschedule it if you're mandated to fight the champion? But Otto Wallin, he's a good fighter, but he has to prove. We can't just jump on a gun and say that he could beat all of these guys. Based on what? Based on a good fight against Fury? Or a somewhat competitive fight against Fury? Fury still dominated him. Still dominated him. Wait, do you really believe these current heavyweights have a chance against a front foot dominant Fury? Maybe Joshua needs to go get Crump. One night I was bored and I was kind of making up a list of people that I think the top fighters that I think could beat Tyson Fury, will have the best chance of beating Tyson Fury. And I should have kept that list because now it was like one of those video ideas that I thought about and I kind of scrapped because I just didn't get around to it. And I had like a list of 5 people. Now I actually think right now, I think I had Usyk at number 1. I think I had AJ at number 2. I think I might have had Joyce at number 3. I think Whyte at number 4. And I forgot who I had at number 5. I didn't include Wilder at this point because they already had their trilogy. So I still think Fury right now would probably beat them all, though. Right now, I'm picking Fury to win, even against Usyk. But I think Usyk has the best chances of winning. But I would pick Fury to beat him too. Right? But I think I had the list. It was 5 people. And I think I had it like in that kind of order or close to it. right? Is Whyte wrong for pulling out? I mean, he's only been the WBC #1 guy for like 4 years now. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think Wallin was there because they didn't know what exactly was going to happen with Fury and Wilder situation. So he scheduled a fight, and since the WBC made him the mandatory, they're like, well, we're going to go straight to Fury. I mean, a fight's a fight. There's no guarantee. I already expressed that it is a duck. What happened with Wallin? It is a duck, but it's a duck for a greater cause, and a cause that he's deserved for like years at this point. Yeah, I am a Knicks fan. I just like this jersey. I have a Knicks jersey as well. I just don't wear it. All right. Whyte says he knocked down Fury twice in sparring. Might be styles make fight sting. It could be. It could be. It could be. I think about that too. And it's because Dillian Whyte has a style. He is very aggressive. He attacks the body a lot more. Wilder tried to attack up the body a lot in his third fight. He did. He came out going straight to the body, which was good. And it was effective for him. Again, he was able to score 2 knockdowns in this fight. But Dillian Whyte is a natural at going at the body, going to the body. He does it all the time. He has a good jab. He has a left hook. He has a big right hand. He has a lot of tools. So you never know. You never know. Maybe Fury doesn't want to fight him. Maybe he doesn't want to fight him. I mean, you guys are talking about Dillian Whyte fighting Wallin. What if Fury does not fight Dillian Whyte? What if he gets rid of the belt, right? He vacates the belt. He's like, you know what? He gets stripped or whatever. I'm not going to fight my mandatory. I don't want to fight Dillian Whyte. What if he says, I'm retiring, I'm done? Is that a duck? Is that a duck? Or are the standards different for Tyson Fury? Dr. Mofongo asks, BoxingWave, did you say you had tickets to the Knicks Celtics opener? What a game. If you did, going to take my son to the Knicks next in Brooklyn. He wants to see them on the road. Yes, I did. Went to that game. And the Knicks are doing really, really well. That was an amazing game. I had a lot of fun that night. I was there that night. That was good. I was there. I mean, it shouldn't have went to overtime, but at least they picked up the win. But it shouldn't have went to the overtime. Nah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Dillian Whyte was extremely sloppy versus Povetkin. If you think he was sloppy there, then I think you just think he's sloppy. I think that's just the way he fights, all right, so anyway, I'm gonna get ready to get on out of here. I'm ready to do the Canelo Plant breakdown. I'm ready to talk about this fight. So be on the lookout for that, because I might be doing that as early as today. Like, I'm really ready to just get that fight out of the way, because I just don't think it's the fight that people are making it out to be. I don't think I mean, obviously it's a big fight because it's an undisputed fight, but I don't think it's the fight that people are looking at it to be. And it might not be like my typical breakdown that I normally would do. All right. But I'm ready to talk about that fight. I'm fully ready to talk about it. I've been watching some film of the two, and I've already decided where I'm going with that. So I can have that out by tomorrow, or maybe even today. So be on the lookout for that, because I'm ready to talk on that. Anyway, I'm out, y'all. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right. Peace.